Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to your topic discussion for the sociological perspective of the self for understanding the self. So, pag sinabi natin, what is the self in the sociological perspective, always remember this. The self is always at the mercy of external circumstances that bump and collide with it, and it is ever-changing, dynamic, allowing external influences to take part in its shaping. Always remember na pag sinabi nating the self in a sociological perspective, it's always changing, ever changing, no? Kasi why do we say that? Because ito na yon yung answer. Because it's always at the mercy of external circumstances. Meaning, kung how do you interact with other people affects who you are at the moment, no? Yung masasabi mong 10 years ago, it's very different from who you are today. Okay? O kaya even yesterday is very different from who you are today. Okay? Baka kasi kahapon may na-meet kang someone, you learned something from someone, ibig sabihin, definitely, your yesterday self is different from your today's self. And always remember that it's always changing because you always interact with other people. Now, in a traditional sociological perspective, if we're going to define the self, give a definition of the self, sabi niyan, it's a reasonably steady set of perceptions of who we are in relation to ourselves, others, and social system. Okay? So, paano ba yun in-explain? So, using the social constructionist perspective, pag sinabi nating self, meron daw yung dalawang konsepto. Okay? Dalawang konsepto, meaning, pinagsamang view, a merged view of your concept of the self. Kunwari, tanungin kita, who are you? Lahat ng maisusulat mo sa isang papel, that is your own concept of the self. Pag tinanong ko yung ibang tao about who are you, lahat ng masasabi nila about you is that is your social context. Meaning, yun yung pagkakakilala nila sa iyo. Okay? And it's always merged. Lagi siyang magkasama. Yes, pati yung sinasabi o yung pananaw ng ibang tao sa iyo is always kasama yan sa social self mo. Okay? So, it's merged view of the person and their social context. Okay? Yes, kasama din yung even yung sinasabi nila, whether you believe it or not, kasama yan sa konteksto na it is part of yourself. Kasi nga minsan, 'di ba, masasabi natin ay ganito ka, sasabihin ng ibang tao. And then you will answer, "Oh, parang hindi naman." And then later on you will realize, oo nga. Ganito nga ako according to them. O kaya minsan sasabihin nila, "Oh, ganito ka." Tapos nakita mo, parang ang ganda nga na ganun yung tingin nila. So what will you do? Pangangatawanan mo yung pananaw na iyon. Okay? Ano pa ba? It's always in unceasing flux. Ibig sabihin, lagi siyang nagbabago-bago. Always in participation with social life and its identity is subjected to influences here and there. So, yun nga yung dinidiscuss natin kanina. Now, merong isang theorist dito na kung saan sabi niya, he created the theory of the development of the social self, which is si George Herbert Mead. And, ito yung basically concept niya. Sabi niya, the self is something which has a development. It's not initially there at birth, but arises in the process of social experience and activity. That is, develops in the given individual as a result of his relations to that process as a whole and to other individuals within that process. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? So, sabi niya, yung sarili mo daw at birth, wala ka pang konsepto ng sarili mo, sociologically. No? Makakabuo ka lang daw dyan kapag ikaw ay nag-interact with other people, no? How you relate, how do you interact with other people, how are your relationships with other people. Yun ang isa sa mga paraan kung paano ka nakakabuo ng konsepto ng sarili. Okay? Sabi niya, it's based on the perspective that the self emerges from social interactions such as observing and interacting with others, responding to others' opinion about oneself, and externalizing external opinions and internal feelings about oneself. Anong ibig sabihin yan? No? Let's look at this model, no? Sabi niya, itong nakabox, sabi ni George Herbert Mead, itong nakabox, that is you, no? You are the biological individual that shows behavior. Okay? Kasi yun yung something na observable sa isang tao. Hindi mo naman ma-observe ang thought process. So, the only thing that is observable is your behavior and how you interact with other people. Ngayon, yung behavior daw na yan can be a result, yun nga, a result of your interaction with other people and is the reason kung paano ang pananaw nila sa iyo. So, paano ba yun? So, you as a person, no? You interact with your micro, macro, and physical environment. And the way your physical environment, macro society, and micro society interacts with you, nagkakaroon daw yan ng apekto sa sarili. Okay? Unahin natin dito. Okay? Pag sinabi nating micro society kasi, these are the people that is always, the people you always interact with. So, family and peers, yung micro society natin. Macro society is the larger group of people that you interact with, no, in the community or in your social system. So, for example, your school, no, your school community, your teachers, your classmates, sa church, no, organizations that you belong to. Ano pa ba? Even nga yung community nyo, the barangay in general, no? Kasama yan sa macro society nyo. And the last one is your physical environment. How is your physical environment? Paano ba? Ano bang itsura? Ano ba ang pinaka-character ng physical environment mo? And paano siya nakaka-affect sa'yo? No? So, isa-isahin natin. Ngayon, let's give a behavior. So, for example, naging masipag ka, naging matulungin ka, no? And then, yung behavior na pinakita mo na yun na pagkamasipag at pagkamatulungin, no? Syempre, nakikita yan ng mga people around you. Hindi mo naman siya gagawin. Paano mo masasabing masipag at matulungin ka kung wala ka namang ibang tao i-interact with, di ba? So, yan. Ngayon, naging masipag at matulungin ka, tapos nakita yon ng iyong micro-society, o sabihin, friends and peers. How would they react? No? Kung talagang nature mo ang pagiging masipag at matulungin, ay, ang bait-bait naman talaga ng anak ko, di ba? That is what your parents will say. O kaya, yung mga kaibigan mo, sasabihin, oh, dito, ayan, mabait yan tao, matulungin yan lagi akong tinutulungan yan in terms of my school works, ganyan. So, o kaya, minsan, di ba, different ang approach nila. Kunwari, hindi ka naman madalas maging masipag or matulungin. Tapos biglang nag-show ka ng behavior na pagiging masipag at matulungin. So, ano magiging reaction ng micro society mo? Anong kailangan mo? No? May hihingin to. May kailangan to. O kaya sa friends mo, pakitang tao. No? Kanino ka nagpapakyut? Okay? So, that is the reaction. No? And how they react also affects you. Sasabihin niya ganun, for example, sa family mo, sabi, hello, ngayon na nga lang, nagbago na nga yung tao, tapos sasabihin pa, nagpapakitang tao lang ako. Wag na nga. Okay? O kaya, pag positive yung response, no, ang sipag-sipag naman ng anak ko, ganyan. O di uulitin mo lang ulit, di ba? Because you want praises. Okay? So, that is how, yourself is affected by your interactions with other people, no? Napunta tayo sa macro society, ganun din, di ba? O, kunwari sa church, matulungin ka, ganun. O, tapos, itong mga church people, sasabihin, may event tayo na ganyan, gawin nating, isa sa mga organizer si ganito, kasi masipag yung batang yan, matulungin lagi siyang tumutulong. See? Nagkakaroon sila ng konsepto ng sarili mo because of your interaction with them. And that concept, no, yung pananaw nila sa iyo ay parte ng iyong social self according to the sociological perspective. Okay? So that is how micro and macro society affects who you are, affects your concept of yourself because of your interaction with them. Okay? So, yan, madali yung explain kasi you talk to people when it comes to that. How about your physical environment? Diba? Physical environment, ito yung literal na, kunwari, sa tondo ka nakatira, no? So, how was the environment there? O kaya, sa bukirin ka nakatira, no? Dadaan ka ng sabana, how was the environment there? Okay? So, even that environment daw, makaka-apekto on how you will behave as a person. First, gamitin natin yung example ng isang student ko. Nasabi niya, ma'am, kapag yung environment daw makalat, okay? So meron kang makalat na environment. Sorry. And ang mangyari, so how would you behave to that kalat? No? Siguro sa umpisa, ay, magsisinip-sinip ako kasi ang kalat naman na environment ko, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos, eventually, pag may nakakita sa'yo sa environment na yon na, ay, ang sipag naman nitong batang to, no? Why not, gayahin natin siya. So, magkakaroon din ng epekto yon sa ibang tao. And then, afterwards, syempre, yung konsepto nila about you, about who you are, it is also, nagkakaroon sila ng perception about you. And it also becomes part of your social self. Okay? Yun, another. Kunwari, nakatira ka sa isang lugar na kung saan medyo dangerous, no? How would you react? How would you behave towards that? Diba? Very, very wary ka na, ay, baka may mangyari sa akin dito. So, kailangan lagi akong alerto, no? So, merong katapat na behavior yung instances na meron sa ating physical environment, no? So, ano mong gagawin mo dun after that? No? Pwedeng para solusyonan mo yung problema na yun is gawa ka ng sali ka sa sangguniang kabataan, yan, sa mga orgs ng barangay nyo, na kung saan pwede nyong i-make feel safe yung inyong environment, no? So, sabi ni George Herbert Mead, this is how the self is developed socially. Okay? So, here are the letters. Ayan. Okay? So, next, mag-focus tayo dun sa influences ng micro-society sa inyong social self. So, pag sinabi kasi nga nating micro-society, these are your family and peers. So, unahin natin si family. So, meron tayong tinatawag na parenting styles, no? Pag si family kasi, sila yung pinaka nai-interact nyo mulat-mula. So, hindi to ibig sabihin na yung blood relatives nyo, the one you consider your family, qualified sila dito, no? Yung mga taong you interact with, mulat-mula nang ikaw ay nabuhay dito sa mundong ibabaw. Okay? So, let's discuss parenting styles, no? Sabi ko nga, kahit hindi ito blood relative, basta you consider them a family or a parent. In this instance, a parent. So, meron tayong tinatawag na authoritarian parenting. So, 4 yung parenting styles kasi natin. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin parenting styles, ito yung way ng, yung style ng parent ng pa-parent nila sa kanilang mga children. Paano ba sila as nanay or tatay? Paano ba ang behavior nila towards their children? Ngayon, so there are 4. First one is authoritarian parenting. Si authoritarian parent, they enforce firm limits and controls on the child and allows very little verbal exchange. So paano ba to? Ito yung mga typical na magulang na kung saan sige. This will be better explained by an example. For example, pupunta ako sa liga ng barangay mamaya, manonood ako, andun yung mga kaibigan ko. Tapos, biglang, actually, hindi ka pa tapos magpaalam, mapupunta ako hindi. Okay? Meron na agad, hindi. No? Tapos, lalo na kung meron kang mga previous na paalam na sasabihin niya, hindi. Tapos, mapilit ka hanggang sa uminit na yung ulo niya na hindi ka pa tapos magsalita, hindi na agad. So, ang gagawin mo, bakit? Ganito. Magdadahilan ka na ganyan. Magtatanong ka. Mas lalo silang magagalit ngayon, no? Sumasagot ka pang bata ka. So, they don't answer the question, but they retaliate, no? Mas parang nagagalit pa sila based on your based on you asking questions, no? Ano pang nangyayari? Some parents, kapag masyadong talagang matigas yung ulo ng anak, they hit the child, enforces rules rigidly, but do not explain them. So, yun na nga, sasabihin nung bata, or nung anak, bakit hindi ako pwedeng pumunta? Ano ba kasi ano? Tapos, ay hindi, magtigil ka. They don't answer questions, no? Yung rules na binibigay nila, hindi nila ina-explain bakit nag-exist, bakit kailangan sundin ng bata. Okay? And most of the time, they show anger towards their children. So, anong epekto nun sa anak nila? Siyempre, kung ganun ang parents mo always, no, children may often be unhappy, fearful, anxious about being compared. Kasi merong mga parents na authoritarian parents na kung saan, yung anak ni kumaring, Cora, ganon. Ganito yung performance, bakit ikaw? Ganyan ka lang, no? Kaka-cellphone mo kasi yan. Yun, go to your room. Ayan, nagalit na lalo. Nakausap lang niya si kumaring Cora sa may kanto, no? Another, they also fail to initiate activity. Hindi sila yung taong makikita mo na mag-i-initiate, mag-volunteer. Kunwari may group work na ganyan. No, ako na maging leader. No. Because they also have weak communication skills. They don't know how to be a leader because they are always trained, no? Pinalaki sila, not trained, but pinalaki sila ng parents nila to always be followers. No? Kasi nga, kung ano lang sinabi ng parents, yun lang dapat yung gawin nila. No? And also, since bawal silang they have no say in the conversation with their parents, they also did not or had an issue developing their communication skills. Kasi nga parang nasanay sila na kung ano yung sinabi sa kanila, opo, okay po, sige po. Ganun lang dapat na ina-expect na sagot nila. Kasi pag sinabi lang hindi po, bakit po, ayaw ko po, merong anger, may punishment na kasunod. So, ay mga example, no? Pwede dito yung mga yun nga, yung example ko na, kunwari sa fast food chain, Jollibee, McDo, ganun, kunwari 3 kayong bibili. Tapos, yung isang bata na possible na merong authoritarian parent, sasabihin niya, be, ayun yung order ko. Ito yung bayad ko. Hanap na lang ako ng upuan, ganun. One of the possible reason sa isang child na may authoritarian parent, bakit ganun ang behavior niya, is because pagdating niya sa counter, nakikita niya kasi yung mga tao sa counter na as authority figures. So, unang-unang maiisip niya, natatakot siya magkamali. No? Baka may mali akong masabi, baka mapagalitan ako, baka pagtawanan ako. So, ano gagawin niya? Iiwas na lang siya. O kaya, paano kapag no choice na siya, no? Punta siya sa may counter na gano'n, siya ang order, kabang-kaba na siya. Sa isip-isip niya, C1 lang orderin ko, C1 lang, C1 po, pabili po ng C1, isa pong order, okay na po yun, thank you. Okay? So, ikinakabisado pa niya yung script niya na sasabihin. Ngayon, pagdating sa may counter, sasabihin, i-large ko na po ba yung fries, saka yung coke? So, hindi niya na-practice yon. So, imbis na, iniisip niya na, hala, baka magalit siya sa akin pag di ko ni-large yung fries and yung coke. So, ang sabi, opo, okay po, sige po. So, ano nangyari? Yung dapat na orderin niya na regular lang, ayun, hindi na. Okay? So, that is one explanation for that is yun ang naging epekto ng authoritarian parenting sa kanila. No? They really have weak communication skills. Next, authoritative parenting. Si authoritative parent, medyo chill ang atake ng parents na ito. Because they encourage children to be independent but still provide limits and control their actions. Ibig sabihin, sige, hahayaan nila yung anak nila, no? Sige, gawin mo yung gusto mo, but you should know na may curfew ka ng ganito, dapat alam mo yung limitations mo, alam mo kung hanggang saan lang dapat yung gagastusin mo, etc. So, they show support for the independence of their child. Kasi masasabi nila na hayaan mong maging independent yung child, yung anak mo, kasi nga doon sila sa paraan na matututo sila. Si authoritarian kasi, ako yung sundin mo, ako kasi yung magulang, ako yung tama. No? Si authoritative parents, sasabihin niya, masaya ka ba dyan sa ginagawa mo? Sige, susuportahan kita, but know that there are certain limitations to what you do. No? Alam nila kung hanggang saan lang yung boundaries na dapat gawin ng anak nila, hanggang saan yung limits na gagawin ng anak nila. Ngayon, pag nagkamali, yun, doon sila, pagsasabihan nila. One difference here is that the parents communicate with the child. May explanation. Kung mapapagalitan nila yung anak nila, may explanation kung bakit sila nagagalit. And kung meron man limits na isiset sila sa mga anak nila, may explanation. Pag tinanong ng anak nila kung bakit ganon yung mga rules, may sagot. Okay? So, anong nagiging epekto nun sa anak nila? No, so they're often cheerful, self-controlled, kasi nga alam nila kahit sa sarili nila, they know that they have limits, no? They know their boundaries. They're self-reliant kasi nga pinalaki silang independent. Friendly with peers because they know how to communicate, no? Cooperates well with adults kasi hindi sila takot sa authoritarian figures nila. Initially sa parents nila, they don't have hindi takot magkamali, but in a sense that they know how to assert themselves, and they know, alam naman nila kung tama o mali yung ginagawa nila. Okay? And they can cope well with stress kasi kaya nila talaga i-communicate yung sarili nila. Okay? The third kind of parenting is the neglectful parenting. Si neglectful parenting kasi, ang tanong dito, pag OFW ba, neglectful parent, no? So, the answer is, depende kung paano ba siya maging parent. Ito yung term, uninvolved, no? Pag sinabing neglectful parenting, these are the uninvolved parent, na parang mulat-mula ay ayaw na maging parent sa mga anak nila. Kaya anong nararamdaman ng anak nila? Their children develop an understanding that other aspects of their parents' lives are more important than they are. No? Ayaw silang alagaan ng parents nila, uninvolved yung parents nila, tapos makikita nila yung parents nila na, bakit mas busy pa siya dun sa ibang bagay? Siguro mas importante yung bagay na yun. O kaya kahit mismo yung there will be interactions na wag mo akong guluhin anak. Kunwari may hihingin ka, ganun. Tapos ang sagot, wag mo akong guluhin anak, importante itong ginagawa ko. Okay? So the term importante, tatatak sa kanila yon in a sense na, kaya pala hindi ako masyadong pinapansin ng mga magulang ko kasi may mas importante pa sa akin silang ibang ginagawa. Okay? So, typical na mga drama sa TV na parang yung mga bagay na may importanteng ginagawa kaysa sa kanila. So, how will the child or the children of these parents react? No? They are socially incompetent. Kasi ito yung mga children na often bahala na sila sa buhay nila, no? They don't know how to communicate with other authority figures. Madalas, sa mga mayayaman, kunwari, yaya lang ang nagpapalaki sa kanila, no? Paano kung yung yaya na yun ay hindi rin ganun ka-affectionate towards them? They have poor self-control. Ibig sabihin kasi, minsan, yung mga parents, wag mo na nga akong guluhin, ano bang kailangan mo? Yun, you ask my assistant. Diba? Itanong mo nun, para ibibigay nila. Ganyan. No? So, they don't have self-control. Kasi nga, kapag may gusto sila, pwede, ibigay na lang din para wag nang guluhin yung parents. No? They don't handle independence well. Kasi, ito yung mga example na kunwari, nagkaroon ng friends or nagkaroon ng loved ones, itong children ng neglectful parents. Tapos bigla silang hiniwalayan. Hindi nila ma-handle yon. Kasi nga, kumbaga, parang inabandona na sila ng parents nila. So abandonment from other people really affects them. No? Hindi nila kaya yon. No? And thus, because one of the reason is they have low self-esteem, feeling nila worthless sila. No? Yung mga magulang ko nga walang pakialam sa akin 'di ba? So, ano pang worth ko sa tao? Yung mga magulang na dapat nagmamahal sa akin, hindi magawa yun. Okay? They are also immature, and during adolescence, they show patterns of delinquency. So bakit patterns of delinquency? Bakit siya kasama sa neglectful parenting? This is one act of parang rebellion na, or seeking attention, no? Siguro kasi nung mga bata tong mga yung children ng mga to ay kunwari may dance recital, ganon. May mga good things na honor siya, ganon, na kailangan puntahan ng parent. Walang parent na dumating. Pero nung may ginawa siyang something wrong, something bad, may parent na dumating. Kunwari nanuntok siya ng kaklase, ay dumating yung nanay ko kasi pinatawag, dumating sila. Tapos in that way, ay binigyan nila ako ng atensyon, pinagalitan nila ako, pero at least, merong atensyon ako nakuha. Naramdaman ko na, I feel important enough na pumunta sila sa school ko. Kasi may ginawa akong hindi maganda. So, anong gagawin nila? Uulitin nila yung behavior because they associate the behavior dun sa attention na ibibigay ng parents nila. So, gagawa sila ng gagawa na hindi maganda para magpapansin sa parents nila. Okay? O kaya gagawa sila na hindi maganda to get back at their parents kung bakit hindi sila inaalagaan. Okay? So, yan. They are often associated with being delinquent. Indulgent parenting. So, this is the last one. Kabaliktaran naman siya ni neglectful parenting. Kasi si neglectful parenting, di ba, uninvolved. Si indulgent parenting, always involved. No? They are highly involved with their children. But unlike authoritative parenting, they don't impose demands or they don't impose limits or boundaries. Kung sa palagay nila ay tama yun sa anak nila, in a sense na magiging masaya dun yung anak nila, sige lang. No? Mami, masakit na yung kamay ko magsulat ng assignment ko. No? Sagot ng parents, sige anak, ako na bahala dyan. Kawawa naman yung bunjong ko, kawawa naman yung bunso ko. Tapos siya na yung gumawa ng assignment ng anak niya. Okay? O kaya, ano ba? Anong nangyari? Kapag ganyan ang interaction nila with their children, no? The children never learns to control their own behavior and always expects to get their own way. Ano bang example nito? So, spoiled talaga, no? They have controlling behavior. They are not popular with peers. Controlling behavior because parang in a sense, control nila yung parents nila. Kasi kung ano yung gusto nila, ibigay agad ng parents nila, no? Not popular with peers because they always have to get their way. Wala siyang pake sa mga friends niya kasi nga parents lang niya sapat na para mabuhay siya sa mundong ibabaw. Ano ba example nito? Kunwari group work, no? Within the day ipapasa. Tapos binigyan siya ng activity. Ito yung gagawin mo within the day, dapat gawin mo na to, tapos mamaya i-collate natin pag sumasamahin natin, ganyan. Ang sagot niya, ayoko nga. Si mami ang gumagawa ng ganyan ko. Iwi ko na lang. At sasagot yung isang kaklase, hindi nga pwede kasi within the day to ipapasa. Ayoko nga kasi. Diba? Ipilit niya yung gusto niya. So anong gagawin? Tatanggalin siya, no? Ngayon, they also don't respect other people. So doon pa lang sa behavior na yon, makikita na wala siyang respeto sa mga kaklase niya. In a sense na part siya ng grupo. So anong gagawin? Pag uwi niya sa bahay, magsusumbong siya sa nanay niya, Mami, wala akong grade sa ganito kasi hindi ako sinama ng mga groupmates ko, ganyan. So kinabukasan, pupunta si Mami sa school, hanapin si teacher. Hello, teacher. Tatanong ko lang, yung anak ko kasi wala daw siyang score kahapon kasi hindi siya sinama ng groupmates niya, ganyan. So pag nalaman na, ay kasi po hindi siya gumawa, kailangan pong ipasa, ayaw po niyang gumawa. Tapos, imbis na, paano maging reaction ng nanay daw, no? Ay, ganun ba? Hala, pagpasensyahan niyo na kasi tong anak ko, ganyan. Dadahilan na niya yung anak niya. Ganito kasi yung anak ko na yan eh. Ano po bang pwede naming gawin? Ano po pwede naming ibigay? Para magka-grade naman po siya. Diba? Indulgent parenting, no? They are aggressive, domineering, and uncooperative. The children of indulgent parents can be aggressive, domineering, or cooperative. Okay? So, those are the different parenting styles. And we can see that iba-iba yung kinalabasan ng anak nila based on kung paano yung interaction ng parents nila. Kasi nga, the parents are the first authority figures that they have, and depende kung paano sila matututo doon sa interaction nila with their parents. Okay? Now, punta tayo doon sa impluwensya ng inyong